Friday night, I was really messed up. Um, and my spidey sense went off, and I was really kind of nervous about like what the hell he was doing out there because he was kind of a sinister, he was real creepy kind of person. So the next night, I believe it was a Friday night, I went to bed. I had all of the doors, all the locks on the door, even the one that kind of like goes over that you can't open from the outside. I had everything locked up. Figured I was safe. I went to bed maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, bleeding out of every hole, sick. Someone was in my room, or had been in my room. Food was missing. My dogs were traumatized. I had been obviously sexually assaulted uh, in all the worst ways possible. I got up, first thing I did was vomit, and all I wanted to do was I was just in shock. There was a do not disturb sign on my door, and I didn't do this. And there was lotion all over my bathroom floor. All I wanted to do was just get on a plane and get the hell away from everybody. And I was, very, very sick and in a lot of pain. I had already been denied a rape kit when I owned my house, and woke up, and my hair had obviously been pulled out, and there were earplugs in my bed, and I felt like someone had done something. I went to Palos Community Hospital, um, under the directions of a non-compromised police officer who told me that if anything happened, to go right to the hospital. So I did. And I had a compromised doctor who treated me like a third-rate citizen and said she would give me an STD test and a drug test. But she refused me a rape kit. And so I had already been kind of traumatized with hospitals anyway, and honestly just wanted to leave. So I stayed in my room until about checkout, and then when I was downstairs waiting for my cab to come, um,
I urge you to pass this. I realize you can't enforce it, but if you would pass it.
Me, how sure. You perceive
sure.
yourself
Well,
as being?
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, "How do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that?" I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not one, but 2. The one physician said, "You're mentally sound as a bell." He said, "I don't have any idea what's going on with you." When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock of my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of the...
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about, in 2977, they talk about the space weapons, space-based weapons. Basically, in that document, it talks about exotic weapons. That's what we're talking about. And the fact of the matter is, they did complete that global surveillance network. My cousin worked for the Defense Department. She worked on the global mapping of that system. And when I told her what I was going through, all she could say was, "You're on your own." Well, I figured that out. I figured that out. If you would please, I urge you to pass this. I realize you can't enforce it, but if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing. and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women.
She may still be. I think in order that we maximize the time we have available, I think we ought to get going. This is the public comment session. You know, a couple of process issues. First of all, to remind folks that the commission staff published an invitation prior to this meeting in the Federal Register inviting comment. I understand there was something on the order of 300 people who wish to offer comment. We'll obviously not get 300 in the next 45 minutes, but the plan is to ask, in fact, I think responders, or rather public commenters, have been notified, and the plan is that Mr. Juan Chuck back here will be, has the list of folks that will be offering comment, and maybe the thing to do is to just dive into that. I want to remind you before we do that the commission, of course, is charged by President Obama to be looking at bioethical issues generated by novel and emerging research in biomedicine and related areas of science and technology, and to promote policies and practices that assure ethical responsibility. And remind you that the specific charge on this meeting has been around looking at on the topic of federal standards regarding human subjects research. So with that background and the amount of, each person I believe has a minute and a half is the way we've been able to try to cram in as many comments as possible. So Juan, if you're ready for the first.
Ms. Cassandra Lewis.
Hi, Ms. Lewis.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Cassandra Lewis, and I'm a targeted individual from Baltimore, Maryland. My story may sound disjointed. I'm trying to keep it within the minute and a half. I worked as a legal secretary at Hogan and Hartson in Washington, D.C. It is now called Hogan Lovells. Attorney Jan McDavid made a client mistake that she tried to blame on me. I then refused to work for Ms. McDavid. Shortly thereafter, strange and inexplicable events occurred on my job, and after being fired, followed me to my home and to all my travels. Attorney Christopher J. Hagan, formerly of Hogan and Hartson, Mr. Samuel Conrad, he's a retired security administrator of Hogan and Hartson, and Robert Johnston, who is the current firm administrator of Hogan Lovells, are responsible for my targeting. I believe to protect Ms. McDavid's reputation, a phone call was made. To whom and why they did this to me, I truly just speculate. Gang stalking and harassment was used to implement this non-consensual biotechnology application that is being used on me. I now experience involuntary limb movements. I receive stingings. I get pains to my head, to my abdomen, to my vaginal area, and to my anal area. I am receiving from a language that I
on one occasion, I was told I was going to be shot in the face, and it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, she's going to get shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them, basically. You know, they call me retarded bitch and all of this here, but
bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and often suffocate me severely while putting sharp pain in my lungs as I tried to gasp in for cold air, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos that recommend a feeding tube. They also sometimes put mucus in my throat to make it even more difficult to breathe and swallow. They also sensation so that I am often vision prior to that. I often also experience deafness intermittently when they turn it on and off, clumps very severely. They have also broken 3 of my teeth, making it very difficult to chew. Additionally, they have done extremely excruciating nerve pain so much that it leaves my genitals painfully raw, making it hard to walk or sit or go to the bathroom. I would now like to talk about the people around me being manipulated by these electronic weapons.
For your testimony and for
day when I can be free from this regulation of my swallow function, so that recording showing this unusual form of repeated and often severe torture. This is not something someone does naturally physiologically, and there is no medical condition that would cause this level of severe repeated burping for hours at a time, nearly every day like this. They also do forced limb movements, making me flail my limbs around. Just recently, for about a few months, they increased the severity of the suffocation while I eat to very extreme. Additionally, they not only do such severe suffocation while eating, but they also do severe dysregulation of my swallow function so that I can barely swallow and it feels as though I'm going to choke and therefore can barely eat at times. Now the severity is variable. Additionally, sometimes they do severe sensory burns in my mouth when eating or teeth pain, and they often do multiple forms of torture in the same meal. At their most severe, severity levels always vary. I have gone through maybe at least 2 pitchers of water in one meal and have taken over 2 hours to eat just 7 ounces of food, seriously gasping for air repeatedly the whole entire time. It was infinitely more severe than I have ever seen in even the most severe of my dysphagia patients when I was working in hospitals specializing in this area of clinical practice for 6 years. Had I seen that in any of my patients, I would have had to recommend a feeding tube. They also sometimes put mucus in my throat to make it even more difficult to breathe and swallow. They also often manipulated my computer and other electronics in various ways so that I trust survivors who have reported that they were shown objects such as a washing machine, things and bodies of anyone around me, anywhere in the world, with severe burning sensation. I awoke suddenly in the most extreme, piercing screams, not knowing what to do other than to just cradle the totally flaccid arm in my other hand while screaming hysterically, and then it quickly returned to normal, but left me very traumatized. Something they have been doing for about the past 4 months or so has been the symptoms of a yeast infection, which they turn off or on, as well as up or down in severity. Right after nearly every shower, and sometimes during the shower, they do severe symptoms of a yeast infection, sometimes making me scratch my genitals so much that it leaves my genitals painfully raw, making it hard to walk or sit or go to the bathroom. I would now like to talk about the people around me being manipulated by these electronic weapons as well.
And I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture, and I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the US, in Illinois, and am a victim of organized
We
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, microwave torture.
I've been targeted for 9 years, and I hope it'll stop.
And all of this under the roof of my home, and V2K, Voice to Skull, 365, 24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand, but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our third annual Targeted Individual Day. And I'm asking that every honest-hearted human being open their eyes to a crime.
My name is Jeanette. I am 56 years old and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a victim of covert electronic harassment and torture. I am a targeted individual.
Hello, folks.
Years. I don't think they're
毎日四六時中監視虐待をされ続けている生活を送っています。今日も額に火傷を負いました。サイバー拷問です。国連で調査されているサイバー拷問の禁止が一日も早くされることを強く望みます。
My name is Michael. I'm a targeted individual.
You will. So stay strong. Keep fighting.
I was tortured for 6 years until now. I am not alone. We are many, and some of us were already victims of this cyber torture for 30 years and more. Don't you feel empathy for us? Don't you feel empathy for your children?
Hi, I'm a targeted individual. I'm just asking for help. I want the government and law enforcement to get involved and help.
I fight against this villainy for me and for my children. So, resist.
Oh Lord, because I think I'm dying. It's brutally painful. I have a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, first floor, second floor, 2 garage, backyard, land, everything. Can't live in my house. My neighbors are shooting direct energy weapons through my house. I hold my heart like this. You know why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. Come get me. Oh Lord, because I think I'm dying.
Nearly every shower, and sometimes during the shower, they do severe symptoms of a yeast infection, sometimes making me scratch my genitals so much that it leaves my genitals painfully raw, making it hard to walk or sit or go to the bathroom. I would now like to talk about the people around me being manipulated by these electronic weapons as well. There does not appear to be a need for microchips or nanotechnologies to manipulate the minds and bodies of anyone around me, anywhere in the world, which I have repeatedly witnessed. For example, they make people around me burp, hiccup, and sneeze repeatedly, especially the sneezing, because the V2K says it's like an orgasm, so they make people around me sneeze excessively to threaten more sexual assaults. I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day.
You would please, I urge you to pass this. My doctor, I had treated with for 16 years. My legs swole up from the electric magnetic frequencies hitting me on my legs. He told me to go to the hospital. And when I went to the hospital, they were supposed to put an IV in me. They sent me to the mental ward because they said I did this to myself. It would never hurt me. I have been a victim since 2007. You can't see this horrific electric hitting you. Electric is invisible. You take a remote control to turn your TV. You can't see it. Turn your television. It hurts so bad.
And I pray that these atrocities will soon be brought to an end. But we need your help. Thank you.
Alex.
So I was listening to these people try to create this fraudulency claim, right? You just heard those testimonies from a lot of women. Talking about the obvious. Obviously, this program does horrible things to women. Now, I'm saying that a million times because the people who are participating in my tormenting, even though they're not the one responsible for me being in this program, because I know who put me in this program. I know my own employer, like one of these women, Cassandra Lewis, mentioned. I know the employer who's responsible for me to be in this program is the reason why I'm here. And now I've been employed by others, which at this point I know when they hired me that they were going to be involved in my targeting. I knew they were perp. They made sure that I understood that and I understand. So even though I see them as people involved in my targeting, they're not responsible for that. But they're still trying to create this facade, right? First of all, the people involved right now trying to create facade. So one of the women you heard say, there's a lot of women involved in this program doing these things to women, which I know. And she's not the first one, she's not the last one. Because it's not a gender thing. There's a lot of men and women involved. There's a lot of black, white. Once you put in a program, everybody is going to be involved in this. Even though initially I was put here for some reason, which I know, once you're in this program, they're going to create a facade. They're going to try to make you, first of all, accept this disturbing manipulation, which I've talked about it a lot, right? I talk about it all the time. Talk about the manipulation themselves in my mind. But what they're trying to also portray is they're here to
it's payback for what you've done to this woman, right? And I'm thinking about this. First of all, they have to exaggerate. First of all, they would even tell me that I had a child with this woman, and they were even giving me the age. Like, you had an eight. I think that it was. You have an 8-year-old child. I'm like, this is how far they go, right? Of course, I know I don't have a child. At least not from this person they're talking about. And so they would try to come up with this. And initially, before knowing who these people were, I used to have this back and forth and say what you did, and I was like, try to go back and forth talking to people who I didn't know who they were, right? And obviously, they had to exaggerate things, not even exaggerate, create their version of things. Now, I'm not claiming that, what I did is right or wrong. I'm just saying that the people talking to me are not the people I would ever let them speak for. First of all, I know what they have to create. They're the same people who tell me I have a child with this woman, which is falsified. So you understand there's a lot of falsification. Now, if this woman, I even tried to look for this person, which of course I couldn't find. I will never be able to find her. They even brought a woman who was completely different, was wearing a wig, and tell me and say, "Oh, she's here." Midst of COVID, it's like, and she was like, "This is a black woman." It was it was complete, and they literally tried to make me believe during peak time of COVID, right? So you understand these people are BS. Now, I cannot let them leave that fantasy where they are saying they're avenging this woman. Did you hear the testimony? This woman woke up bleeding from everywhere, in pain, hurt, throwing up, going to the going to the doctor. The doctor refused to give them a rape kit. Do you think I can ever let people who are involved in a program that does this and try to say they're speaking for this person? And they're trying to create their fantasy and reality of things. Like, listen, if I was wrong, it will come from people who's not involved in this to people that does this to women, cowards and low life. They call this being a war. You're not at war. Delusional. You hear the horrible things they do, this sexual torture they have this woman go through, and somehow block it out. Also, it's not fair. It's very fair because I understand this is what you do. And it's funny. They were saying that I was with this person, and she's like, and they will make me think that at night somebody came and did something to me. And honestly, I was like, I don't even actually care that much because I know what they do to women. I know what they do to this woman's rectum. You heard that. I heard of what they do to this woman's anally. I know what they do to them sexually. So I'm like, for me, whatever's going to happen to me, I'm okay because I know I'm not the only one going through this. A lot of women actually. And so please stop saying this, the name of this person that you're trying to pretend that you're doing it for when you're involved in things that does that. You could never, out to do this, to speak about this person. She said, no, now speak back, please. You're in a program that this horrible stories are happening to them every day of their life. They're living in misery that this program is causing, which you're working for. And they try to distance, like, it's going to be eye torture. Shut up. Okay? This is the systematic things that you do to people. I'm one of many. I'm not special. You guys are the same people doing this thing. Some of you guys just join in because I'm, involved in your realm of the world. And so as a target individual, your whole ecosystem is filled with people who are going to torment you. But you are in a program, regardless if it's your first time, your last time, that does horrible things to women. And you know that the people who is empowering you right now, these people in this program, actually in this program 24/7, are doing this to women and children. And you try to dumb yourself down. When I see them, what irks me, people are so cowards that they will listen to these stories, hear this woman screaming for help, asking for help, and try to play like feminists. How disgusting are you? I can't. So all this fake feminist or femme fatale, you guys, first of all, at that point, you forget about it. You're in a program that does these things to women. There's people in the hallways screaming, it's our torture. You have to say, no, we're different. It's our torture. How delusional is that? How delusional is that? No, if I was a woman here, you'll be doing your torture. If I was a target individual living in this building, it'll be your torture. I cannot let them live their fantasy. Do you think I don't see, when I see them try to even do this thing, and I'm thinking, all the women that you guys have been tormenting, And those women are strong. A lot of men, this program, I'm sure, give up fast. A lot of men, I'm sure, end up killing themselves probably. A lot of men do these mass shootings. Well, not a lot, but some of these mass shooters are men that couldn't deal with this. But these women deal with this for years of just torture and sexual torment because they have the strength to deal with this for that long. So these people are trying to play out like femme fatales, like, oh, nothing. It's like, of course there's nothing. My point is not trying to get to you. I'm not trying to get to your good heart. I'm trying to say that you're part of this. I don't care how you cope with that, but you're not going to escape and tell yourself, yeah, it's your torture. No, this is the torture that these women and even children go through. And you're thinking I'm going to let you escape, and you're going to say the name. I'm going Coca. Let me call her Coca-Cola. I don't want to say her name. Oh, we're doing it for Coca-Cola. So you forgot about Katrina, you forgot about Mariana, you forgot about Jackie, you forgot about Cassandra, you forgot about what was that? Wendy Browns. You forgot about Amanda Mindler. You forgot about Mary Fair. You forgot about all these women. Oh wow! What about this woman? Oh no, unfortunate. Huh? I will never let you speak for Coca-Cola because I know what you would do to them if she was put in a program. I'm gonna say them because the whole family will be destroyed, and you're here all of a sudden becoming super frustrated that I'm not seeing you for what you guys are because you want me to have this perception of what you guys are, which I won't. If you think, listen to this thing, I'll be like, oh my gosh, you care about this woman. Oh my gosh, did you hear Katrina's story? She tried to go to a doctor to get a rape kit. Of course, she's a target individual. What happens? The doctors treat you like trash too. Refusal of giving her a rape kit because she's a target individual. A woman who was raped, bleeding from all parts. And also they try to say, oh, Coca-Cola. And they just try to say, it's our anal thinking. Listen, they try to take things to that point. Now, listen, I'm not saying that what I did is right or wrong. And if I say it's not going to come from these people. I cannot even have this conversation. At one point I was really feeling bad. I was like, I need to talk to her. I need to look for her. Of course I was never going to find her. But this is a woman that to have a full conversation with, came back, asked me for breakfast, and they came in, this woman, Katrina, they tormented and tortured. I couldn't, listen, there's too many women they torture and do horrible things to. Too many. For me to let them go into that fantasy. Oh, I told you, no. You can't be involved in that and let you live that fantasy. I don't care the facade. I don't care if there's a bunch of women trying to play feminist or they feel like, oh, okay. What do you think? What do you think about this testimonials? I'm not trying to get to these people because these people, I don't care about how they feel. I don't care about the coping mechanism. I don't care about that. It's just when they yell out their fantasies of, oh, this is avenging group of people. When they're in this program, delusional. Never. And matter of fact, some women literally say there's a lot of females, a lot of women in this program. They're not even women. What kind of women? Because that's what they do. But with me, they try to block out what they're part of and look at, oh, this person, oh, we're going to do it for her. What? You think I'm going to let you live that fantasy? I'm not going to, no. They try to block out what they're part of. I can't. I was to the point I was trying to, this is somebody I did since college. I was literally trying to locate her. Matter of fact, and I was like, I pray I get to see her. They made me believe that I had a child with this person. They had a person that looked nothing alike. In the midst of COVID in New York City. Standing there, sitting there, and like, that's her. Covering her face with some blonde weave. And I'm like, oh, anal. I was like, please tell me you're not talking about Coca-Cola. Because first of all, I know you have to exaggerate things in certain ways, but even if I could not let you speak for her, not with what you have done to people. Not even if you personally have been involved in those specific targeting, I cannot let you be a part of a program that does these horrible things to women and then somehow be able to just block out things too and say, oh, you care about Coca-Cola. No. So what do you mean? Like, is Coca-Cola more special than this woman speaking? These women are being tortured and raped every day? No, I can't. Matter of fact, even for Coca-Cola purpose, I will not let you guys put that on her shoulder because you don't care about her. You will torture her. And like, oh no, it's rape. I was like, oh please, okay. Coming from people who rape and torment women till they kill themselves, I cannot let them live that fantasy. I literally was looking for her. So for me, they're like, oh, it's gonna be paid by you. I was like, listen, you're just trying to create this fantasy. For all the women that you heard there and others that aren't being heard, I can never let them live this fantasy. To all target individual, whatever facade they try to create, do not subscribe to it. I cannot let them speak for these people that they claim they're doing it for, or whoever they try to. I cannot. Whoever they try to speak for, I try to find these people. I tried. Whoever I can find, I connected with, because I know these people are so fraudulent. Nobody's perfect. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, but I'm so glad that I never involved myself in a program that can do these destructive things to women and try to play the feminist. It's the most disgusting part. There's nothing nastier than that. Forget about even the children because that's going to be another level. I don't even want to talk about it right now because it's going to disorient me because I want to focus on the women. On the women that they torture. In this disturbing sexual manipulation. Oh, so horrible. The stories are disgusting. They all talk about genital tormenting of some sort. Almost, it's systematic. Systematically using rape as a torture. This is not something just rare here and there. They do this. And imagine living that life for a long time. Decades of that kind of torture. And you know these women are strong. So they're going to fight for as long as they can. They're not going to they're not going to give up. A lot of them are going to try to fight through it. And so you have this trash that wants to block that out? Never. So stay strong and know that justice will be done. For all those people they've destroyed, all the women they've tormented and tortured, all this manipulation, the facade they try to put, the audacity to create a facade of that nature when in a program that does horrible things to women, God, that on its own should deserve something else. So to all my target individuals, stay strong and know that it will happen for what they've done to us. And do not subscribe to who they want you to be. Don't let them vilify you when they do these things. That's so horrible. Before they try to vilify you, remember what they do. Remember how disgusting in the life they destroyed. I can't even let them even speak about this person. It's disgusting. But that's their job. They try to block out reality, but they do horrible things to some of the most vulnerable people, and I kept saying that. And for that, they'll be reimbursed.